Hey guys, Augiesaint here and welcome to the channel. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I want to talk to you guys about the first Descendants. More importantly, what is the best starting Descendant, as I know a lot of you guys are interested in playing the game. It's coming out really soon. I will be diving headfirst into it and going crazy on it. I'll be streaming it over at twitch.tv/Augiesaint as it comes live. It'll be 3 o'clock in the morning for me, but we're devoted. I can't wait to play this. It's really fun, so similar to Warframe. I'm so excited. I'm gonna stop babbling. I'm going to get into this video. Basically, I'm going to give you guys like the rundown of all 3 of the starting characters and suggest to you which one I suggest picking, and then you can take that information and do with it what you like. It's totally up to you what you're going to play. This is a game overall, so you want to play whichever one looks the most fun to you. They are all more than capable of playing the game. I'm just going to give you the pros and cons to them after playing over 100 hours in all 3 of the betas. So without further ado, let's hop into the first one. We have our fire grenade boy Lipic, the final Grenadier. Now on the website of they do give you a quick little overview of everything. They don't really give you the numbers and stats behind all of these skills, but I do have a video recorded from the beta that will give you everything you need to know. So we're not going to cover everything too in depth. We will stick to the website, as it can just be easier to follow along. So having a look at Lipic, we know he is a DPS, a dealer who uses grenades to attack, clears the battlefield with his tactical prosthetic arm, and grenades with boosted powerful performance. So he is a fire attribute, so you'll be modding for fire on him if you're going to be using his skills. His passive skill is called Close Call, and basically whenever you die in combat, you won't take any damage. You'll become immune to all damage for 5 seconds, and this has a 10-minute cooldown. So that's his oh shit, get out of jail free card. You can pretty much die and you'll come back to life. You know, you'll get a second chance again. Has a cooldown of about 10 minutes, so it's about once per mission, depending on how fast or how slow you are in the missions. Overall, he is the weakest out of the 3 that I could suggest, but that is his passive skill. His first skill is Grenade Tech. Okay, so this actually scales off tech there. You can see all the skills, so when you go mod the characters, you want to make sure you're modding them after the correct attributes, so they all tell you their tech singular tech. So if you want to scale his ultimate and his grenade, they both scale off tech, but if you want to scale his other 2 skills, they do scale off singular. So just keep that in mind when you are building up your characters. So the first one, very simple. Throws a grenade forward at the enemy, and that's it. It extra burns when overclock is active. Overclock is another skill that we'll get to in a second. Overclock over there on the second skill, the singular, increases all skills attack and adds a burn effect to grenade and overkill for a set duration. Overkill being another skill of his. So overclock is going to increase your skill attack, just make your grenades stronger as well as your ultimate. So now his third skill is called Traction Grenade, and then you throw a traction grenade forward to pull enemies within range. Just throws a little grenade and it sucks them all up. It's really good crowd control, and I do actually like using Lipic overall. And then his ultimate is Overkill. He fires a powerful shell at the enemy. The shell is maintained at the landing point for a set period of time, inflicting constant damage. Extra burns when overclock is active. So basically he just activates his arm kind of like in Iron Man fashion. You know, like his arm becomes a massive cannon and it shoots out these energy balls. You can mod this, and there is a special mod that when you crit while using that, it actually restores mana, so you can indefinitely be in that. As you can see in the background, I am just shooting away with his ultimate, his overkill, and it's just never going on cooldown because I am always restoring my mana when I get the critical hits. That's all doing with mods and how I set him up. So you can build him like that, so you just focus on that, or you can build him with cooldown, focusing on the grenades and grouping them up together. There's many ways you can go about using him, although I would say out of the 3 starters in the beginning of the game, he's probably the weakest out of the 3. So let's move on over to Ajax, our big burly tank boy. So as you can see, his role is a tank. He features a tank who utilizes void energy. He leads the team with a force field that protects allies while deflecting enemy attacks. And his passive skill is called Event Horizon. Acquires void energy after using skills, and when the void energy reaches its maximum amount, it enhances the skills and grants additional effects. So you got like this little bar that you fill up whenever you use skills, and then it'll give you void energy, and then when you use your skill again with full void energy, it will take that void energy and then like buff up the skill. So have a look at his first one, Orbit Barrier. This creates a shield in front of Ajax. Durability increases proportionally to Ajax's HP and defense. So his skill there scales with HP and defense. If you put mods on that increase those, then the shield will be stronger. If enhanced, so this is if you have full void energy, it reflects damage proportional to the defense to all enemies hitting the barrier. So it's going to be like a reflect shield, and it's going to scale with your defense, so the enemies will take more damage if your defense is higher, and obviously that is the enhanced version when you do cast it with the 3 void energies. And then moving over to Void Walk, his second ability, he leaps into the air and lands on the ground to strike nearby enemies, stunning them. If enhanced, max shield increases for a certain period of time, so when he jumps into the group of enemies, he'll stun them. If you do use your Void energy, he will also get an increased shield, so he'll be more tankier while he's in the middle of all the enemies. And then his third skill is called Expulsion. He strikes nearby enemies, knocking them back. He pretty much just does like this AoE pulse around them. And if that is enhanced, the knockback's range and max shields are increased. So he'll knock them back further, and the max shielding is increased again. And then his ultimate, the Hyper Cube, creates a dome-shaped shield. Durability increases proportional to Ajax's HP and defense. Again, scaling with HP and defense. If enhanced, it will reflect damage proportional to defense of the enemies hitting the barrier. So again, like his other barrier, this is just a all-round barrier around you. As well as something that's not mentioned over there is that it will actually give your teammates a firepower buff. So all your teammates will shoot, their guns will be a little bit stronger while they are inside that. And I believe for a few seconds while they leave, it's like a little buff you get, pretty much like Blessing of Light from the Titans from Destiny. If you guys have ever played Destiny when you played a Titan over there. So Bubble, it gets stronger with more defense, and it also reflects damage to enemies. This is if it is enhanced when you put it up. So if you have the 3 Void Bubbles. Overall, Ajax very strong, and he is basically the choice that I'm leaning towards. Between him, it's really close between him and Viessa, and I'll give my points onto which one of them I feel is better as a starting frame once we get there, once we cover Viessa. So let's hop over to Viessa. Last but not least, the Frost Queen. Feature a debuffer who uses Chill at will. She uses Chill to freeze enemies in place, unleashing cold snap-like attacks as she weaves her way between them. Now her attribute is Chill. Let's have a look at her passive skill. It's called Ice Sphere. Creates an ice sphere floating around her body when inflicting enemies with ice shackles effects proportional to the effect stage. The ice sphere will automatically fly towards nearby enemies and deal damage to the target and its surroundings. So she's got really good AoE clear because that will like scale with all of her other abilities, as you'll see in a second. Her first ability, Frost Shards, fires an exploding ice beam inflicting damage and ice shackles around the area it hits. I wouldn't say that's much of an ice beam, it's more of like an icicle. You just shoot out this like icicle, and yeah, that's what it is. So it just does damage, but it does inflict ice shackles. And then ice shackles effect increases by 1 stage when hit, increases by 2 stages if hit by the exploding area. So the initial hit on the enemy that gets hit by the ice shard will get 1 stack of your ice shackles, and the ones around them will get 2 stacks of ice shackles. So moving on to her second ability, Frost Row. This is also very similar to Bunny. This is why I like her quite a lot. Increases running speed and shield and creates ice sheets on the ground where Viessa stands. When enemies come into contact with these ice sheets, they are inflicted with ice shackles. Ice shackle effect increases by 2 stages. So this gives them another 2 points of ice shackles, I believe, like every second they stand in it. So eventually it will freeze them completely. And then that just plays back into a passive, because then they'll be frozen, giving ice shackles, so that thing will seek out enemies. And it just does a whole lot of AoE, very strong clearing, as well as making it a little bit faster, and freezing enemies to CC them to give you a little bit of breathing room as you're going to be, going through the game. And then moving on to her third skill, Cold Snap. Releases an arc of cold air in front, inflicting damage and ice shackles. Again, increases your ice shackles by 2 stages. Now this is just like a little cone in front of you. They'll just inflict ice shackles. Just a quick way to increase ice shackles on enemies if they are, surprise you or spawn in front of you, whatever. Just a quick way to build up your ice shackle stacks on them. And then moving over to her ultimate, Blizzard. Creates a snowstorm that explodes over time, inflicting damage and ice shackles on enemies caught within. Increases by 3 stages when hit, increases by 4 stages if hit by the exploding area. So that when inside it, they'll go up by 3, and then on the exploding area after, it will be increasing the shackles by 4. This is the skill that's actually going to debuff enemies as well, as their defense decreases when the blizzard disappears and inflicts AoE damage and ice shackles on nearby enemies. So this is going to be really good, as it's going to decrease the boss's defense or any enemies you're fighting, elites, mobs, and the cooldown on this is not too bad, and you can obviously scale that much better with mods as well. So I would recommend Viessa as one of the best starting Descendants. It's a very close call between Viessa and Ajax. It really depends on your playstyle. If you want a more proactive running around, you can freeze them and crowd control with big AoE potential, I would say Viessa is your girl. And then if you want Ajax, who's very solid, tanky, you're never going to die, super helpful in teams, even in void intercept battles, because he can provide the shields and stuff for everybody, as well as that firearm attack bonus for everybody as well. but it is more situational as people actually do need to go into the shield to actually receive the buff. Whereas Viesa, I feel, is better because you chuck down your Blizzard on the Void Intercept, the big bosses, and boom, their defense is automatically stripping, and then players will just automatically do more damage to them. So overall, I feel like Viesa is a much stronger pick for like a starting out new player and just getting into the first Descendants, as you can build her up pretty strong with some alternating mods to change your builds and stuff, and she can actually last you really well into like the farming, mid-game, end-game, whatever that may be once we get there. But all of my testing in the betas and playing Viesa was one of the best starters, if not the best. Like I said, it's very close between Viesa and Ajax, as I would recommend Viesa if you like, you know, AoE clearing, freezing stuff, and then like I said, the easy application of the defense down. Or if you just want to be the Titan from Destiny, big, strong, bruly, and putting up shields and just never dying, as well as Ajax is really good early on with like defense points missions, because you can just shield the defense points. But then again, Viesa, you can just run in circles around it with your frost field and freeze everything around it. So they're very close. So the choice is really yours. And then obviously the poor guy Lipic is left out. He's not that bad, but he does require some more mods and stuff, because that build that I showed you guys earlier in the video where he was doing that crazy damage with his ultimate does require a very specific mod. So it is going to be a much later before he reaches that power point. But then again, he's also good with for the new players with his passive. So you can res every 10 minutes, but I never really felt in danger while playing through most of the beta content. I never really died except for in Void Intercept missions when learning the bosses and stuff like that. But it's up to you which one you want to pick. I, on the hand, will be picking Viesa. She is going to be my starting Descendant. And then we're going to switch over to Bunny as soon as she is available to us, because Bunny is just going to carry you through like the mid game right into the end game. Bunny, really OP. Definitely want to get Bunny as fast as you can. So that's going to be it for this video, boys. Pick what you like. Remember, it is a game. Have fun. Pick the one that looks the best to you. But I'm going to be picking Viesa because defense down, super effective and easy to apply, as well as she's the only one with boobs. I mean, who doesn't like boobs? Yeah, am I right? Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you liked it, please drop a like and a sub to the channel. Helps me out so much, and I'll catch you beautiful people in the next one. Augiesaint out.
Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the